Hello, this is Manesh Patel from ichimokutrade.com. Today is April 14, 2013. This is our bi-weekly analysis for the 2 weeks coming up for the currency forex market, where we're going to cover everything from Euro USD to Pound to Australian, New Zealand, and Yen currencies and so forth. It's an interesting week. Reason why is a lot of Yen pairs now. Little reversal. A lot of people still don't know if trend's going to continue or they're going to reverse and finally go for a major pullback or not. But believe it or not, that's not the only currency that's starting to move. New Zealand is also moving too compared to all the currencies, and we'll look at that in just a moment. It's our normal disclaimer. This is for educational use only. We're not soliciting you to buy or sell any particular instrument today. If you do so, you're doing that at your own risk. All the charts today for the currency forex market are going to be from TradeStation. Okay, here are our contact details here. Ichimokutrade.com is our website where you could pretty much access our blog, our free videos, everything out there. Also, you could email us here at info@eiicapital.com, or you could give us a call at any of our office locations here. Okay, so let's go straight to TradeStation and start looking at various currencies out there. Remember, on the left-hand side is basically a daily time frame. On our right-hand side is basically the weekly time frame. If you look here on the weekly time frame, Australian CAD is starting a trend here, but we kind of hit a major resistance right around 700. It's got to break that resistance in order to keep on moving up and for the trend to continue. Let's readjust these, and right there. So support on this one's basically going to be 502, and resistance is going to be about 719. We did bounce off that resistance last week, and we kind of haven't broken through it at all, but we really need to sit there and move up above that in order to sit there and have this completely into a full-blown trend moving forward. Australian yen, you can see, is still very, very strong moving forward. There's nothing even really to talk about that. It's still very strong in both the daily and weekly. If you look at the support, it's going to be basically at 101.15. Resistance is basically going to be at 105, which is pretty much a hit over there. Australian Twitsy, here you could see this is basically consolidating between a huge wide range of 95.03 and 98.97. So there's nothing really to talk about there at all. This just sitting there, went from the top of the consolidation. Looks like it's going to try to go to the bottom. Your short-term support is going to be basically 96.74, which is kind of at right now. Australia, New Zealand. You could hear it's basically sentiment is bearish on the daily time frame. You could see it's trying to sit there and break out here. It had a chance here, didn't quite do so. It's making another run now. It's at its major support right now, which is at 21.95. Resistance on this one's going to be about, let's say it's going to be about 24.84 on this one. Australian USD. If you look at Australian USD, looks like it's trying to start a trend on the daily time frame, but if you notice on the weekly time frame, this kind of just tells you this is consolidating between a range of 113 and 585. And if it could sit there and break this 585, then you're going to start a trend. Notice Australian CAD was still pretty much the same way. So a lot of the Australian currencies are pretty much at the resistance. You know, if they could, except for the yen, a 1 against the yen pair, of course. But if they could break that resistance, then it could sit there and start a trend to the top side. So Australian currency is pretty strong. At the top is its resistance range right now. If it could sit there and break it, it's going to sit there and start a trend against the majority of all the currencies out there. CAD Switzy here, really doing nothing right now. Sentiment now is both bearish on both the daily and the weekly time frame. Really hasn't started a trend at all. Reason why it's ranging between 9006 and 9411. CAD Yen, still very, very strong to the top side, as you can see here. Some people think some of the yen pairs may reverse and pull back. There's no signs here right now of a pullback at all. You notice it went all the way up here and then came all the way down, but no signs at all. This thing's got the first pullback level is going to be about 95.02. Next one would be about 93.69 are the support levels for a pullback. Switzerland yen, of course, strong compared to just like all the other currencies against the yen. This is also needs a pullback. First level of pullback is going to be 102.68. Second one's going to be about 102.42. So between 102.42 and 102.68 is kind of the pullback that we're looking for as far as the Swiss yen is concerned. Euro Australian, if you look here, the daily time frame looks like it's trending here. Finally did a pullback here to the green line, held it, but right now it doesn't really. If you look at the weekly time frame, really not doing anything except ranging between 21.38 and 26.87 is pretty much the long-term big wide range. If you look at the daily time frame right now, the range is basically 25.06 and 23.90. If it breaks 25.06, it's pretty much going to go higher to get to this resistance at 26.87. If it breaks 23.90, this thing's going to sit there and go to the bottom of the consolidation pattern, which is 21.38. So this is kind of do or die for the Euro Australian right now. Euro CAD here, really not doing anything at all. This thing is just going wild in this little consolidation pattern. It's formed a little miniature consolidation pattern now, which is between 31.52 and 33.27. Whichever way it breaks, it pretty much will get to this bottom of this consolidation pattern here, or the top here right around 3600. So we just wait and see on that one. Euro Switzy, really not doing anything except ranging between 2089 and 2302, so nothing really to talk about there. Euro DKK is also consolidating here. You can see these big wild swings here that it's been doing pretty much on the daily time frame, but if you look at the whole overall time frame here, excuse me, 44.62 is its support, 45.56 is its resistance. And if you look at this, if this resistance hold, this thing's gonna sit there and get down to 44.62 for sure, and possibly have a chance of breaking it and getting down to about 4,400 at least. So keep an eye on this one here. It's at a very critical level right now in order for us to see what happens. Euro pound, the daily is consolidating. It's basically dropped between a range of 83.73 and 86.13. Whichever one it breaks, it'll sit there and pretty much go that way. Right now, the sentiment is more towards the bullish side. So if it could break 86.13 and get this resistance or 8,800, this does have a possibility, believe it or not, of starting a long-term trend. So keep an eye on this one in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see exactly where it's going to go. Euro yen, of course, just like all the yen currencies against yen pairs, is very strong. Support levels on this one are going to be 125.10, and the second one's going to be 124.91. So this is the support zone is pretty much 124.91 to about 125.10. Euro NOK, if you look here, really not doing anything at all. The daily time frame is just a little crazy right now. If you look here on the weekly time frame, it's telling you it's ranging between 42.68 and 55.80. Believe it or not, this is starting to look a little more to the bearish side, so I'll keep an eye on it. If it definitely breaks the 42.68, if it does, then we do have a possibility of restarting coming down here to this 3,000 level, which would definitely set up a bearish trend on a daily time frame. So keep an eye on this thing breaking 42.68 in the next couple of weeks or next couple of months. If it does, then it'll sit there and start a long-term trend to the downside. Euro New Zealand is sitting there trending downwards, and this is something that we made at the earlier part of the call. New Zealand is getting very strong compared to all the other currencies out there. So this seems like this is the trending currency right now. And you could see here, this is starting to sit there and move down. All it's got to sit there and break this major support at 50.85. If it does, this thing's going to sit there and just keep on trending down to the downside even more. Resistance on this one's going to be about 58.72 is a long term, 54.98 is a short term trend. Resistance. Euro SEK, really not doing anything at all. You could see here, this is just one big currency that really does nothing at all right now. And if you look at there we go, that gives you a better picture. Resistance on this one's going to be 48 to 45, and support's going to be about 1773 is basically support, but the daily just looks very, very ugly to even look at this thing. Euro USD, A lot of people thought this was going to crash. Apparently it didn't. It sat there and held its support right around 27.62. Resistance on this one. The first one's going to be about 31.50. The second one's going to be about 31.85. So between 31.50 and 31.85 is resistance there. I will definitely look at possibly looking for some short trades on the Euro USD bouncing off that resistance on the lower time frames. But keep your risk very, very low. Because you really don't know for sure it's going to bounce off there. But I think this is a new range right now here that the Euro USD is going to have, and I have a feeling it's going to bounce off this area here and pretty much come back to this low range right there. Pound Australian, if you look here, Australian here. Remember, we've been talking about Australian currency. If you look at, remember, we talked about the very beginning. It's pretty much at resistance is a lot here since this is the pound Australian. This is at its support right now, which is at 46.16. Resistance on this one's going to be about 48.87. 67. But again, this is at its support, just like the other currencies up here, which was at its resistance. So if Australian currency this week could sit there and get very strong, it's going to have a possibility of breaking out compared to a lot of currencies and start some long-term trends. So keep a very, very good eye on Australian currency this week, and maybe next week too, if it doesn't anything happens this week. If it decides to get weak, then it's pretty much going to go back into that consolidation pattern, just like every other currency against Australian. Pound Switzy, really not doing anything at all except ranging between 4,001 and 4307. Nothing exciting there. Most Switzy pairs are typically not. Pound Yen, just like all the yen pairs, this is very strong. Support on this one's going to be basically right around 147.11, and the next one's going to be about 145.84. Pound New Zealand here, you could see it's trending on both the daily and weekly. You could see here, broke its support here at 79.51 and making its move downwards here. It's a great trade. Pretty much all the New Zealand currencies are pretty much strong, where the New Zealand is moving now and kind of broken their last support resistance depending on which way you look at the currency. Pound USD kind of made a little upward movement. This is a pullback right now. It's at a minor resistance level of 53.49. Support here is 48.85. So it's going to be interesting to see this week what happens here. If it breaks that resistance level, then it's definitely going to get to about 56.05, which is its major resistance level. And it's got to hold there in order for the trend to keep on going to the downside. New Zealand CAD, we actually blogged about this. This was our trade of the week. Our blog, which is pretty much ichimokufwebsite.com. You could see here it's trending on both the daily and weekly. This was a great multiple time frame buy email alert that we got. It's been moving up very, very good. And you could see our entry was around 85.49. New Zealand Switzy here. Really, if you look here, this kind of poked its head out against the resistance here, and then came down. But you could see here, this thing's retesting its resistance right at 79.97. It's kind of its minor resistance right now. Support is basically 76.71. New Zealand Yen. This is very strong. Support levels on this one going to be 82.08 and 80.74 are the two support levels. New Zealand USD is still strong too. Here trending pretty much the daily and weekly. If you look on here, support is basically going to be about 84.70. Resistance is high up there, so it's not even worth talking about there. Singapore Yen, support levels are going to be 77.79, and then 77.06 is the next one. US CAD, this one's slowly been trickling down. Kind of bounce off the support, roughly around about 84 was the support where it bounced off, and then if you look at the resistances, it's basically going to be at 158 and 198. But this thing slowly, it's had its chance to sit there and start moving up. It's not good. The longer this thing hesitates, the more potential this thing's sitting there going down to about 41, which is its major support, and breaking that lower. If it breaks this 41 level, believe it or not, it's got a very, very good potential chance of coming down here to this 9800 level and 9700 level. So keep an eye on this for the next couple of weeks too. US Switzy, really not doing anything at all. Got to the bottom of the range, which is basically at 92.71. Top of the range is 95.49. 95.94. If you look here, this thing, if it starts moving to the downside, this can possibly start a trend, but you got a lot of support pretty much that you're going to run into to start a trend to the downside. So this one's not really that great of a currency to look at right now, or may not even in the future, but right now, definitely not for sure. USDKK is basically ranging between 66.63 and 84.40. Nothing going on there. US Hong Kong is basically ranging between, if you look here, 75.78 and 76.58. So that's the two ranges there. US yen finally starting to do a little pullback here. Major support's basically going to be around 96.24 and 95.39 is the next support levels. Key is it going to get to our support levels this week, or it's still going to be strong? Pretty much it's going to bounce off here and go up. It's going to be interesting to see exactly where all the yen pairs sit this week. US NOK here is ranging between 65.38 and 85.02. Nothing really exciting there. US SEC basically bounced off the resistance at 54.50 and basically broke the support at 91.09. Now this looks like it's getting to the 3,000 level here. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens if it gets to 3,000. Will it continue to go down? Notice a lot of U.S. pairs are pretty much weak. U.S. is kind of weak right now. The currency is, which is pretty interesting. U.S. Singapore dollar, nothing really going on. It's trying to go to support, which is 23.39. Resistance is going to be 25.60. So pretty much the theme for the last couple of weeks, last week, is that New Zealand kind of popped out and starting a major trend last week where it broke a lot of resistances, or a lot of supports. So keep on looking for those opportunities for New Zealand to possibly continue to keep on going up. Also, U.S. Currency has been pretty weak, and the yen currency finally got a little strong where you've had some pullbacks, but it's going to be interesting to see this week what happens. Will the yen continue to be weak, or will the yen continue to, will it start to sit there and get a little stronger so we can sit there and get these pullback levels that we're looking for? So a lot of these yen pairs like US yen, Euro yen, Australian yen, USD yen, and so forth. So, for day trading, I would definitely stick to New Zealand pairs, sticking with bullish opportunities on that, and then kind of see what happens on the yen side moving forward. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in 2 weeks.